welcome to the first in what will hopefully be a live series of discussions on generative AI, featuring some of the most innovative analysts from the team at Omdia.
One of the tenets we talk about a lot in our practice area is responsible AI and managing AI risk. And enterprises have a lot at stake. There's so much risk for them to try things. They have to go about this in the same manner they do anything else. There's not really enterprise grade solutions for generative AI. There's been these research things come out and, ways that people can test and stuff like that. So we've always just felt like our customers are telling us that they're proceeding with caution, but they're also excited about what it might do. But they tend to do these things in the lab, right? Then the sandboxes and kind of thinking about what it could do. It's just very dangerous to go out there and say, wow, this is great. It's magic. Let's apply it to all our great data we have. And then, it wouldn't be so good.
And if you don't mind me adding on there, what Mark says is absolutely right, that you can't just throw your enterprise data at one of these models, especially the cloud-hosted consumer-facing chatbots like Bard and ChatGPT. And that is one of the main reasons why enterprises are looking at this very carefully, because if you do feed your data into the model to train the model, then that data with, let's say, OpenAI's ChatGPT is actually visible to the people working at OpenAI, because it is a model that is predicated on human intervention to try to keep it from hallucinating. And so all of the interactions, all of those transcripts are actually open to the people working at OpenAI. Second to that is it is a strange phenomenon of some of these models that's called leakage, where if you say to the model, our hiring practices are X, give me a good job description, those hiring practices will actually be a part of that model in many cases going forward. So if you post sensitive information on it, that might be available to other people using the model through this leakage.
In Jeff Hinton's in particular case, it sounded like what he wanted to talk about the risks of generative AI, and being a senior executive at Google, he was not perhaps able to express all of his opinions freely. So that's one of the reasons, right? He decided to be able to speak up about the risks. And it's interesting that Jeff Hinton actually is now recognizing all of this risk, because I think hopefully it's the beginning of a growing trend, because there are some researchers and AI practitioners who have been, like Gary Marcus, for example, who have been talking about risks with not just generative AI, but AI in general for quite some time. And I'm not talking about the existential risk, AI wiping us out. It's not necessarily that. And obviously there's people like Timothy Gebro and Margaret Mitchell and what have you, right? Lots of women also speaking up about biased and AI. And at the same time, a lot of people have not been, I think, paying serious attention to the dark side of these black language models. And the fact with technology, like with everything, you have to be able to trust it, because trust is really the foundation of the kind of the scaffolding of the society, of the business. It enables commerce, it enables business. And if we can't trust the output, if we don't even understand how the technology works, and with generative AI in particular, because it can generate all kinds of deepfakes and all kind of information that we can't even attribute to a particular source. We don't even know what's true, what's not true. It can potentially end up living in a very dangerous world where there's no trust, with zero trust. And what would that world look like, and what the implication? And I think, going back to your question about Jeff Hinton, that's probably one of the reasons that he decided to leave Google.
At the outset here, I would very much suggest that any company that's investigating this work with a trusted partner, because there is some level of indemnification and some level of how do I put this, responsibility if something goes wrong. So if you work with a company like an SAP or a Salesforce or an Oracle, and you utilize a large language model from them, which they're all building into their line of business solutions, as Mark mentions, you know that before that, before they finalized that model, the training set they used, they did their best to ensure that it was inclusive. They did their best to ensure that it was free of bias. They did their best to make sure it represented the actual customers. And so it was therefore in alignment with those customers.
I'd like to kind of see where things are going. This market is moving very, very quickly, compared to November. Look where we are now. What's coming in the near term, do we feel?
Within 1 day ago, Stability AI released a fully open sourced rendition of the Llama model built on top of another model called Vicuna, and released the deltas for the weights of those such that they can be reverse engineered for use in the enterprise. Suddenly you have this sort of ecosystem of models flowering before us that I fear needs to slow down a little bit, just because of all the concerns we've been talking about. These lightweight models that can be run on anyone's laptop right now. I have several of them. I don't think they know about one another, which is good, I hope. But anyway, they're all happily running on my machines locally, and same for any enterprise. I'm sure they're already investigating these. And so, as Natalia said, those organizations, before they actually make a single decision based on these, need to put in place those controls, need to understand what the ramifications are and the risks for that. So you're going to see in the near term a lot of the point solutions built on top of these lightweight models that are going to be showing up to fill small gaps, be that just a dentistry office trying to schedule the right appointments, all the way up to Bloomberg searching their archives.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I'm going to narrow mine down to looking at some companies, and I don't mind saying them, maybe I'll get in trouble. And what I think is going to be interesting is looking for adults in the room. So, right, this is the kids are out playing. We got lots of kids playing, but I'm looking for adults in the room around enterprise AI, right? So there's a difference when you're looking at basic consumer things, and I'm not talking about, how Microsoft fixes Office, or, how you do little things that help everyday people. I'm talking about the enterprise side. So 2, I'm looking for, I think the adult in the room that maybe is going to be one to watch is AWS with Bedrock. And maybe Brad can help me there, but it seemed like a thoughtful way to allow enterprises to experiment and think about this in a way that they'd have some help. So I like the idea. I'm interested to see where Microsoft lands with all of what they're trying to do, which is a lot with a partner that I just have a lot of skepticism about their responsible nature, which is OpenAI. To me, they haven't proven to be responsible citizens of generative AI so much yet. Maybe they're getting there, I don't know. But how that goes, this is a very powerful combination. There's no denying that OpenAI has come up with some interesting stuff. There's no doubt. But I'm like, are you going to be responsible through the end of the year? And how is that going to look in this partnership, as opposed to others that might be more responsible? So I'll leave it at that.
What they're doing is they're not locking you into a single vendor's model. They're saying, look, this is always going to be a heterogeneous world. So let's bring in the models that we know of, and let's control them in an MLOps style, facilities that recognizes those risks that we've been talking about.